A second special counsel, as 20 members of this committee wrote you 3.5 months ago asking you to do.
Well, Mr. Comey is no longer the director of the FBI.
Thank goodness.
We have an excellent man of integrity and ability in Chris Wray, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job, and I'm very happy
He's not
about
here today,
that.
Attorney General.
And I would say,
you are, and I'm asking for a special
time of the gentleman.
and I would say,
expired.
looks like is not enough basis to appoint a special counsel.
All right, that was Freedom Caucus member, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan today grilling the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, on why the Justice Department has not appointed a special counsel to investigate the scandals I just outlined for you surrounding Hillary Clinton. Congressman Jordan is here, along with Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz and Ron DeSantis. Thank you all for being there. All right, Jim, let me start with you.
Yeah.
A week ago Friday, my sources, multiple sources, told me, A, he did not recuse himself from Uranium One. B, I have sources telling me that there is and has been an ongoing investigation. Do you believe that to be true?
Well, we hope the second part is true, but the first part, whether he's recused himself from Uranium One issue or not, he gave contradictory answers to my colleague, Mr. Gaetz, under his questioning today. So we'll see. The key is, though...
But in fairness, is it something he would be able to tell us? It would not, correct?
Well, on one hand, he said he was not recused from that. On the other hand, he said, well, maybe I'd have to check to see if I'm supposed to be recused from that. So, again, Mr. Gaetz asked him those questions, and within that same 5 minutes, he said two different things.
Matt, Congressman? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Jim's absolutely right. We had a lack of clarity from the Attorney General, and just like you're frustrated, Sean, we're frustrated. We've been calling for 3.5 months for an investigation into these scandals because if we allow them to continue, we erode the rule of law. The Attorney General at one point said that he would have the power to appoint a special counsel, and then later he said he wasn't sure, and that may be subject to a recusal. So we left today without a straight answer on whether or not there would be a special counsel or even what the time frame would be. That's frustrating.
Let me go to the substance, Congressman DeSantis, about all of this. I won't regurgitate. It took me 20 minutes to lay this all out tonight. There's so much detail. But to me, the evidence is so overwhelming. The idea that we've spent a year and there's no evidence of Trump, Russia collusion. Dianne Feinstein said it a week ago on Chris Wallace's show. And here we are, a year later. No smoke, 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 no fire, fire, fire. The evidence here is overwhelming. Fusion GPS, Uranium One, the email server scandal. Comey should be investigated. Your thoughts?
Well, you're right, Sean. I mean, let's just take Trump-Russia collusion. Not only is there not evidence of collusion, but we know that, or we think that the dossier that was used to justify some of this surveillance was done through the Democratic Party paying Christopher Steele, and obviously he had to pay some of these Russians to be able to get some of this information. We need to know, and Jeff Sessions would not answer, whether the FBI paid Christopher Steele for that, how much did they pay him, and whether they used it for the FISA warrant.
Don't we have a right to know? Doesn't the American taxpayer have a right to know if they paid this guy that paid Russians for salacious lies about Donald Trump to influence the election and the American people, to propagandize, lie, misinformation, distort? Don't we have a right to know? I think we do.
Absolutely.
Well, Sean, that would be the...
This is the American taxpayer. We need to know what the FBI is spending money on, and if you look at it, if, in fact, this was Democrat Party funded, you have the FBI working with one political party against another. And, oh, by the way, in collusion with Russians who are providing this information.
And, Congressman Jordan, it's the very thing they've said that Donald Trump did, and they have no evidence.
It won't be the first time the left accuse us of what they're actually doing. Look, we don't know if this happened for sure, but everything points that way. And Ron's exactly right. If one major party is working with, financing and working with the FBI to go after the other major party, taking a National Enquirer type document, turning it into an intelligence document to spy on Americans associated with President Trump's campaign, that is as wrong as it gets. And again, if that doesn't warrant investigation, if that doesn't warrant a special counsel to look into it, I do not know what does.
To me, Congressman Gaetz, it is this serious. Are we going to have in America today a dual justice system, or are we going to have equal justice under the law? Because if I deleted 33,000 emails that were subpoenaed by Congress, if I used BleachBit, if I destroyed devices with a hammer, how does the FBI director Mueller at the time know Russian agents of Putin are trying to corner the uranium market? We have to import uranium. We don't have enough. 9 people sign off on this thing. Then they got the transfer of money with people involved back to the Clintons. And then they funded a phony dossier full of Russian lies to hijack an election. And now we know she already hijacked a primary. The poor Bernie Sanders. He got ripped off. It was rigged from day one.
Sean, you're absolutely right. And this is what makes the American people sick. This notion that there is one set of rules for the Clintons and another set of rules for everybody else.
Is this going to happen?
When we look at this investigation, you've got the very people who may have been involved in keeping information from Congress, keeping information from the CFIUS process, but they're in the process of investigating the President of the United States. They're undermining our democracy now when they very well may be witnesses to the actual collusion with one of the participants in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton.
This better happen. Last word, Congressman DeSantis.
Well, I think everything you laid out, Sean. Uranium One, we are working hard in the Congress. We're bringing the informant in. We're going to get his documents. We're going full bore on that. We will get the stuff for Fusion GPS. They're going to have to turn that over. And then finally, Comey and his memos and how he exonerated Hillary. We're getting all of that information, and we can't let up.
All right, guys, thank you. We're not letting up. All right, All right, welcome back to Hannity. Before we close tonight, I want to address the new very serious sexual misconduct allegations against Judge Roy Moore. If you watch this program regularly, you know I do not and will never rush to judgment, because we have seen the media and politicians get it wrong so many times. I've outlined all of that. Now, in light of new information about Judge Roy Moore, we have to address this issue again tonight. We should be troubled by 2 things in this case. When the Washington Post story first broke, I said that the allegations should be taken seriously. They should be fully investigated. This is a 14-year-old girl. We need to discover the truth. I also said I can understand when women wait years to come forward because of the evil that in cases where they are guilty, the men are guilty, it's evil trauma. I can understand people having a difficult time talking about it, even years later. So this past Friday, I had Judge Roy Moore on my radio program, and I methodically, step by step, went through point by point every allegation against him and let him respond. Listen to part of that interview.
The Washington Post alleges that back in 1979, when she was 14 years old, that she had sexual encounters with the then 32-year-old Roy Moore. What do you make of these allegations?
Well, Sean, first let me say this. These allegations are completely false and misleading.
Would it be unusual for you as a 32-year-old guy to have dated a woman as young as 17? That would be a, 15-year difference, or a girl 18. Do you remember dating girls that young at that time?
Not generally, no.
You don't specifically remember having any girlfriend that was in her late teens even at that time?
No, I don't remember that, and I don't remember ever dating any girl without the permission of her mother. And I think in her statement, she said that her mother actually encouraged her to go out with me.
Now, he gave a third answer. For me, when he said, well, not generally, not without permission of the mother, it seemed inconsistent. And a lot of other people saw the same thing. It took 3 times. On the 3rd time, he unequivocally then denied that he'd ever dated somebody in their late teens, even though I was pressing again and again. Now, here yesterday, we have another accuser that came forward. She's alleging that Roy Moore sexually assaulted her when she was 16 years old and he was in his 30s. Here is how Judge Moore responded to that accusation.
I want to address what's been brought out on television today by Gloria Allred and a client that she has about things I allegedly did. I want to make it perfectly clear. The people of Alabama know me. They know my character. They know what I've stood for in the political world for over 40 years. And I can tell you without hesitation, this is absolutely false. I never did what she said I did. I don't even know the woman. I don't know anything about her.
He denied knowing this 5th accuser, but this accuser has now brought forth a yearbook that Moore appeared to sign, quote, To a sweeter, more beautiful girl, I could not say Merry Christmas, love Roy Moore, DA. I looked at the handwriting. I know some people on Twitter have said things about this. Here's where I am tonight. Between this interview that I did and the inconsistent answers, between him saying, I never knew this girl, and then that yearbook comes out. For me, the judge has 24 hours. You must immediately and fully come up with a satisfactory explanation for your inconsistencies that I just showed. You must remove any doubt. If you can't do this, then Judge Moore needs to get out of this race. This country has way too many issues and problems. The American people deserve 100% truth and honesty. We need correct answers the first time on issues this serious. Judge Moore, you owe that to the people of Alabama, the Republican Party that you represent, and to the country which is suffering under so many problems. We deserve answers, consistent answers, and truth. Thank you for being with us.